I, Ms. Divishri, welcome you to the third edition of Cineast International Film Festival of India, CIFFI 2021. CIFFI 2021 is the world's first 7-day hybrid film festival organized by educational institutes of two countries, Media School of Delhi Metropolitan Education, Delhi NCR, India, in association with School of Communication and Creative Arts, Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. The theme of CIFFI 2021 is Cinematic Regeneration #Cinema 2021. CIFFI is being organized in hybrid mode to serve as a beneficial platform for beholding the new methods of viewing and studying the cinema during the challenging times of the pandemic. The first edition of CIFFI was held in April 2019 and the second edition was organized in December 2020. It is a privilege to be associated with Deakin University during the previous editions of our film festival as well. It is a proud moment for me to mention here that CIFFI 2021 has received the submission of 3,130 films from 111 countries. CIFFI 2021 brings 21 sessions with 70 experts through 11 panel discussions, 2 curated sessions, 2 masterclasses, 2 workshops, 2 special sessions, and 2 special segments. Mr. Tigmanshu Dhulia, National Award winner, film director from Bollywood, is the festival ambassador of CIFFI 2021. We are extremely thankful for his constant support. The festival partners of CIFFI 2021 are Cover Drive Productions, a Noida-based production house, Vikrant Prasad, the organizer of National Science Film Festival of India, International Science Film Festival of India, and India International Science Film Festival. CMS Vatavaran, Environment and Wildlife Film Festival and Forum, Kids Cinema 2020, an online international children's film festival, Culture Cinema, a concept-based film festival aimed at celebrating world cultures, We Care Film Festival for promoting and exhibiting films on disability, Delhi International Film Festival for screening films amidst heightened deliberations on world cinema. Our partners from Australia are Asian Media and Cultural Studies Network and Australia and India Film Practitioners and Researchers Network. Our institutional partners, Global Media Education Council, an international platform of media educators and researchers, Indian Documentary Producers Association, an association of documentary filmmakers, Indian Academy of Shorts, an institution for imparting craftsmanship of filmmaking through small capsules, and New Delhi Film Foundation. Our media partners are APN News, The Policy Times, Hindi Gaurav, and Australia Ka Pratham Hindi Samachar Patra. Today, we are screening 116 films. You can watch all the films being screened on our website, ciffi.dme.ac.in. Today, we have gathered here for the panel discussion with the film team on Aiyai, Wrathful Soul, and the session will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Kishore. Now, I would like to request Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena, Festival Director and Dean DME Media School, to kindly give the opening remarks.
So I welcome everybody on this panel on the 4th day of CIFFI 2021. Every day we are almost conducting 3 sessions, and I owe to Mr. Dr. Vikrant Kishore that he has arranged all these sessions, 7 sessions in a row. Almost every day there's one session from Australia on diverse topics and with diverse panelists, and this is a different session of its kind, wherein a film cast and crew has been invited on the panel to discuss about their film. I know that this kind of deliberations will go a long way because the audience in India, the students and the budding filmmakers, they will get to understand the nuances of filmmaking in Australia, and the information, the knowledge that will be spread will definitely be helpful to young filmmakers whenever they are planning to come to the industry, join the industry, and plan their own creative pieces and decide to shoot their films and all. So I'm looking forward to having a very wonderful, very interesting deliberations in this session. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. CIFFI is powered by Spark, the Student Council of DME Media School. Journalism at DME is the official newsletter of DME Media School. This fortnightly publication covers all the major activities happening in and out the campus. It is a student-centric newsletter carried out entirely by them under the supervision of faculty members. DME TV is the official YouTube channel of DME, where you can find the playlist related to all the sessions, lecture series, film festival, and conference. Now, I'd like to request Mr. Pramod Kumar Pandey, Assistant Professor DME Media School, to introduce our panelists for the day.
Thank you very much, Divyashree. I would like to introduce the panel, and in no particular order. I would like to introduce Professor Dr. Vikrant Kishore first. Well, he's a filmmaker and an academic at Deakin University. Currently, Dr. Kishore has been capturing stories of cultural flows and its impact on the Indian diaspora in Australia. Dr. Kishore likes to integrate traditional cultural practices with new media technologies to archive, create digital exposition, collaborate in multimedia exhibitions and festivals. He has authored and edited books on Indian cinema, celebrity culture, and intangible cultural heritage. He has been a jury member of various film festivals, and his area of research includes Indian cinema, intangible cultural heritage, reality television programs, casteism and discrimination, and is a member of the Regional Advisory Council of the Victorian Multicultural Commission. We are proud to have you, sir, and we are very happy that we'll be getting to hear so much from you through your moderation and from so many panelists who are available. Also, I would like to tell about Pennyanne Lace, who is known for her work on Aiyai Wrathful Soul 2020 and Magdala Rose and Crisis Point. She believes there is nothing more fun and fulfilling as being in front of a camera, and there is nothing more powerful than a cheeky smile. She has experience in modeling, singing, dancing, theater, print and TV commercials, webcast, short films and feature films. She has won multiple awards for Best Actress and also Best Supporting Actress for both short and feature films in Australia. A recent award was the Australian Screen Industry Network's Best Actress Award, presented on 6th March 2021. Thank you very much for coming, ma'am. Then we have Damien Beebe, who has been in the film and TV industry for more than 30 years now. He has an electrical engineering degree and did staging and editing before turning his full attention as a director of photography. He says that if you have no sense of humor, then you are in the wrong industry. He often collaborates with his brother, who is a renowned Hollywood cinematographer, Damien Beebe, on feature films and enjoys the challenges that comes with that. He states that being good at what you do is just one part. Being the best with the people you work with is the key. He has worked in Hollywood and Australian productions such as Edge of Tomorrow, 13 Hours, Redemption, Into the Woods, 9, Mary Poppins Returns, and Fool's Gold. Thank you very much for coming, sir. Then we have Alan Arumugam, sir, whose creative journey started with a passion in poetry and writing, which further developed into directing stage plays and cultural events in the university, where he studied business administration and accounting. Alan, sir, recalls a short film, Copy Shop, to be an eye-opener in his taste and perspective of filmmaking. Now, with an appreciation for world films, he also gratefully attributes many of his scripts and character ideas to his unusual real-life experiences. Alan operates from YSA Screen Media, an Australia-based creative studio which aims to create groundbreaking films to entertain global audience by adding new flavor and visual patterns, blending realism and enthralling narrations. Thank you very much, Alan, sir, for being part of this panel discussion. Then we have Kanesh Mohana Sundaram, sir, who is an investor and he's the executive producer of Aiyai Wrathful Soul 2020. Well, Aiyai has won a Pacific Screen Award at the International Screen Awards 2020, Best Feature Film at Kaiju International Film Festival 2021. And Mr. Sundaram also received Jury Award for the Best Producer at New York Cinematography Awards 2020 for Aiyai Wrathful Soul. He has been the managing director of GVKM Elephant Pictures and member of the Screen Producer Australia, AACTA, and FINAS Malaysia. Thank you very much for being part of this panel discussion, sir. Last but not the least, we have Kabir Singh, coming from a solid background in theatre and performing since the age of 4, Kabir is one of the Australia's rawest talents. Born on 25th Jan 1992, being a very young and dynamic personality, Kabir and his family migrated to Australia at the age of 10, always taking part in the school plays, dramas being his favorite class. Kabir went on to study a business law degree at a university, from where he dropped out after only 8 months to pursue his true passion, that was to be an actor at the Lee Strasberg Theatre and Film Institute in the New York City. Having appeared in countless films, ads, and off-Broadway productions in India, USA, and Australia, Kabir played the leading role in the feature film One Less God, which is based on the Mumbai bombings and kidnapping of the hostages in the Taj Hotel in 2008. The film enjoyed a limited release around Australia, India, Japan, US, UK on October 2018, and Kabir was also shortlisted for the Best Supporting Actor for AACTA Award in 2018. He has many projects lined up that we're going to witness very soon. Thank you very much for joining us today. And I would now like to tell about the film, Aiyai, and before I hand over the panel discussion to Vikrant Kishore sir. Aiyai, A Wrathful Soul was a film, filmed in Brisbane and Dalby, Queensland, and produced by Kanesh Sundaram sir. The film was released in Singapore, Sri Lanka, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, and Oman in March 2020. Aiyai has received critical acclaim from multiple international film festivals in various continents with over 24 official selections, including 14 award wins. That's an achievement. And now we welcome the Aiyai team. And now I would like to hand over the program to Vikrant Kishore sir to take the program forward and enlighten all of us.
Thank you, Pramod, for this very good introduction. And I'll just start by acknowledging the various traditional lands where we are located and acknowledge the elders past, present, and emerging. I acknowledge the land, waterways, and airways of the Wurundjeri people and pay our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people. I also acknowledge the struggles and rights of the Dalits and Indigenous people of India. Firstly, a big thanks to the team CIFFI for working continuously for this hybrid film festival. We have seen a continuous support of students and media practitioners joining us from across the world. This year, we have curated special panels focusing on Australian Indians' contribution to Australian media and the kind of connections that we are building. I'm really pleased to have the team of Aiyai Wrathful Soul with us to discuss the film and their work. Of course, the name of the film gives away that it is a horror film. And talking about the horror film situating Indian and Australian perspective will be great. And as Pramod said, we have with us Kanesh Sundaram, Arumugam, Damien Beebe, Kabir Singh, and Pennyanne Lace with us. And I know that Kabir is in a rush and he needs to go. So I would, I would have thrown the first question to the director, Alan himself, but this time I'll take that liberty of going on to Kabir first and talk about his experience of working in this film. And also being an Australian Indian of second generation, I want you to also focus a bit about the challenges and opportunities that Australian Indians face in media here in Australia. So about the film and about the challenges and opportunities. Over to you.
Right. Well, thank you so much for having me on board on this. And I'm really sorry I'm only able to give a little bit of time to talk about the film. Aiyai Wrathful Soul was a journey and a half. It was Alan from the day one. He, before he even cast me, he was like, how far can you go? How deep can you go into the character? And I said, as deep as you want me to go, so I can go as far as you need me to take it. So, and Alan knew I'm a method actor, and that's what Alan wanted. So, we went all out. Alan told me the story about, this was a true story. It happened to, a friend, an acquaintance of his. So already I was in awe. And when I accepted the project, I immediately started work on losing weight, because I was like, Alan, I need to shoot the sequences where, the horror part where the character is, lost a lot of weight and he's looking gaunt and, very, very scary. So I'm like, we need to shoot those parts first, and then we can go to the healthier parts in the, the start of the film or whatever. And, he accommodated the schedule around me because I lost over 25 kilos for this role. And my diet was the same diet that Christian Bale took for The Machinist. I'm not sure if there's any film buffs here, but if you've seen The Machinist, Christian Bale in that, lost about 40 kilos and he survived on just apples and coffees. So that's what I did. I lost the weight. And then the project was just incredible to work in. Alan is an incredible director. It takes time to, for any director, any new director and actor to sort of come together and find the balance. But me and Alan just, him with Damien, him with me, him with the actors, he was just spot on. Like he knew what he was doing from day one, even though this is his first film, So having a director like that who really cares about actors, that's where the performances come from. There's directors who don't really care about anything, they just want to make a movie and make money, but it's not about making money. Alan said it's not about making money here. It's about making a good film, making something that people can relate to. And on the topic of relation to, we spoke in great detail about Indian students coming to Australia and what that means for my character to represent Indian students in Australia. And, me being an Indian that came from India when I was 10, luckily I was, I'm the lucky ones that I immigrated with my parents. So I had, as a child, I was looked after. But I know many family friends who are students who struggle, and especially during COVID, they really, really struggled with the, the situation, being students and not being able to get food and, just basic supplies. And you're living in a country like Australia. All these things are normal here. It's not like India where the poorest, they don't get food. You're living in Australia. So it's just the fact that in Australia, it teaches you is to work hard and that you don't have to be educated and you don't have to be, super, rich or anything to if you work hard, you can achieve it. I feel like Australia is the new America. It's the city of dreams where things come true. America, I feel like it's had its day in the limelight, but Australia is where people now come and it's got great weather, it's got everything that you need. So Indian students, that's why I feel like they want to come here, because there are a series of opportunities and people get respected here. But the film talks about racism, and there are moments in the film where my character Kiran experiences racism, and people calling him a curry muncher or this or that. All these slangs and slurs people like myself have heard growing up in Australia. So it's normal, and it's important for people around the world, and especially students that come from India, to not think that they're going to come here and walk straight into a gold mine. Every country requires hard work, and Kiran, my character, is someone who's willing to work extremely hard, but unfortunately his passion and his desperation come in contact with unfortunate circumstances where he finds a job, he's desperate to get a job, he finds a job in the cemetery, and things go wrong. So things like that happen all the time, but in this horror perspective, because it's a film, it's obviously there's an element to it that's very film worthy. But besides that, honestly, Indian students, people that come here, do you know what's funny? I'll tell you a story. I came to Australia with my family, and my dad is does a blue collar job. He drives a bus. My mom's a school teacher. But in India, you talk to them in India, your family back home, and they're like, oh, they must be mincing it. They don't know how hard we work over here. We work our asses off to get where we are, But the thing is, in India, you don't get those opportunities because only the people that are in the limelight or rich get those opportunities. But Australia, anyone can get that opportunity. And that's what the character of Kiran, to me, was based about, that he wants to be here so badly, and his desperation gets the best of him. That's the film in the essence of it, like it's a student who's trying to work hard, trying to make it big, and bad things happen to him, as it happens to good people all the time in life. So
thanks for that, Kabir. That was quite interesting, insightful, as well as intense. So good to know about your work and the kind of passion that you are showing and demonstrating not only as a person, but in the film as well. So thanks for joining us today. So I'm going to now move on to Alan first, and then I'll come to Penny next, and then talk a bit about technical things, and then getting the perspective of the producer. So Kanesh, I'll come to you last. So I've set the order. So Alan, I want to talk to you about your perspective on the film. Firstly, how did you get started? What were the challenges for you? How did you go about casting? How did you find your producer? How you found such a great cinematographer and everything? So again, I'm going to limit you in probably 8 to 10 minutes. So yeah, let's hear from you.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting us, to this panel meeting and share with some of the information from Aiyai Wrathful Soul. It's a pleasure to join with us today, join with you guys. Thank you for everyone joining from India. It's too early over there, and so thank you for everyone. So first of all, Aiyai Wrathful Soul, it's a great journey actually. I mean, so we had a learning experience and so collaborations, all about the collaboration, so collaborations, bringing technicians from multi ethnicities from so background. Also Mr. Kanesh, Mohana, Sundaram and his dad and his family was amazing support. So they was give me the more confidence to me to bring this life. So so what we tried to in this film, so what we tried actually, we really wanted to do the horror film because horror market always marketable, and they have a certain audience always for the horror movie. So but our team was what we planned. We trying to do something psychological thriller kind of. We don't want to do the typical horror, so minimize the jump scare. Or of course, it's come to the proper script. So we're trying to add some flavors to bring the different taste. So in this case, what we done, we really wanted to go for a psychological thriller way rather than going for a jump scare. So basically, we're trying to convince like a mature audience, kind of. You know what I mean? This is for a mature audience. So once the script is done, before the script started, what we done. So we're looking for always we're hunting for the good script and good, because we need a character before we build the character story. So one of my friend as a real life incident, so the character, we picked up the character from the real incidents and build the characters. And also we talk a lot of things we talk about, and a lot of questioning how much we can show this character into the screen. Because we have to be some kind of restriction, but at the same time we don't want to compromise. But finally we got something, a good script in our hand, and we start to approach. We bring it to Kanesh's table, producer table, and then he was approved. So he doesn't compromise at all. He was saying about he's opened the gate for and then I was approached all the well-known technicians, and also they normally doesn't come to the films. So because I'm a first-time director and also in Indian international side, so they have, because I don't have a credit before. So what happened, once the day come up, and most of the people why they joined in these films, because of the script. It's a proper script. So Damien sir, of course, thank you so much, Damien sir. So he was amazing, and he's got an experience, so he, of course, 30 years experience. He worked on most of the Hollywood films and Hollywood big artists. I mean, well-known artists, and he's on board. As soon as the Damien sir joined, and everybody joined, because you know what I mean. So and then Penny madam, it's amazing acting, and Kabir Singh's done a very good friend. He's a method artist. He's a very hard work and dedicated guy. So easy to flow, so to bring the character life. And of course, I push maximum to the character, but then he's taking over. Always I give 100% freedom to the characters artist to bring the character to life. You know what I mean? So it's a more space for them to it's flow very well. Yeah, it's a great journey, very good experience, and we have finished up within 30-day shoot. It's end of the day, whatever we do, everything with what's coming on the frame, you know what I mean. So we need a good footage to play around. And Ganesh sir, of course, is an amazing support, sir. And it's come out, but unfortunately the COVID came, but we couldn't make it a theatrical release worldwide. But whatever, we tried something, we released it somehow. Finally, it's come to, but by the meantime, we sent it to the film festivals, and we got over 45, 50, now I think 53 film festivals awards. And then 17 they win actually. So it is well recognized. We sent to the competition in the COVID time, you know what I mean? So we got recognized, and also we got few awards from India as well. Pune International Film Festival and Delhi International Film Festival, and few Crown film festivals, so we just sent it to India as well. It's the end of the day, as a filmmaker, if it is go to film festivals, compare with more than 100 films or like 50 films, and if we select it, so we get, okay, we're satisfied, okay, we've done a good job. That is the biggest reward for our filmmakers. So I was satisfied. But it's still a long way to go. It's a big journey, and also it's my career also. I need to be very careful what I'm doing. It's all like thanks to everyone to listening and inviting us again, so to us for this panel, and great to meet you all.
Yeah, thanks, Alan, for providing an overview of how you went about it. So I'm going to now move on to Penny and ask her about her experience, firstly in the film and about her role. And I know that she had to wear lots of prosthetics and things like that. Yeah, so to talk a bit about your role, and then probably you can also throw a bit light about your own career and trajectory, and also working in horror films. Was it your first time, or have you done that before?
No, I've done a couple of horrors before, but this time not to the same extent of prosthetics that I had to do this time. We had all of the initial making, which was a very long and arduous procedure. But I think the first time that I got into the Aiyai suit, it took 6 hours. So it was a long day because I needed to be in it. And if we took it off the first day, it took 4 hours. So basically I was in it for the whole day of shooting, which kind of meant the day before, very little eating, very little drinking while I was wearing it. Also, very little to drink, very little, because we were rushing and we didn't want to waste time because the team was amazing and we had a lot to get through and not a great length of time on the shoot. We turned it over really, really quickly. So I guess for me, the dedication of the team and how helpful they were for me and accommodating for me, because that was not a comfortable suit. It was scary. The first time I got to put in my black contact lenses, Kabir ran out of the house. He was so scared. And I thought, okay, well, if that can do that to Kabir, who's prepping for all of this and he knows the story, and I can just peer around the corner and scare him, I think we're already onto something that's going to work. When I first met Alan, it was with a friend, Brian and Charles, and we talked about the script. And I guess firstly, what I fell in love with, in addition to the way that they talked about the character of Amy, because Amy is so diverse. She is really a good girl that's found herself in a bad position. And she has limited time on screen to affect the audience. Can't give too much away for those who haven't seen it, but she goes through a journey of transformation. Let's just say that. But Alan, he filled me with this enthusiasm about this project, and he was just so creative and energetic, and the way he described it just on his own, and the joy around the table as we were looking at the script going, yeah, this is going to work. That's going to be amazing. And I just felt really, really grateful for the opportunity. The other horror movies that I've done, I always seem to end up getting made to look really, really ugly, which I don't know what's going on with that, with the teeth enamel and veins sticking out of my head and all of that. But I didn't have to do that the whole time in this. But I never got to look pretty, except for, I think, for half a second maybe. But it's really good for me to be able to step out of my standard casting of, you know, what I generally get cast for. So, but I did love the team and how supportive they were. Kanesh, amazing. Damien, who wouldn't want to be on a set with him? Oh my goodness, the talent is supreme. And Sir Alan, he just does everything with so much love and enthusiasm, and he looks after his actors. He talks to you about his feelings and what he wants to feel from the scene. And we have that dialogue of trust. And then once we've established that, we are allowed to experiment, and we're allowed to bring different elements and pull elements from the sky. And if a scene naturally is a scary scene, how can we give it more dimension? And during the rehearsal period, before we even started filming, one of the acting coaches that was in also challenged us to do a number of the scenes. And there's one scene with an actor that I'm in, Ozzy Devrish, and it's quite an intense scene. And we were asked to totally flip the emotions of that scene from scary to in love. And we were allowed to experiment through that rehearsal production, and there were elements that worked, oddly enough. And we were able to say, okay, why did that work? And how can we transition that into making the scene more multi-leveled, the more context, the more subtext. So that aspect was really, really good. But ultimately, it was just an absolute pleasure to work with such a team of committed, creative, enthusiastic people who just wanted to get this amazing story out there.
Great, thanks, Penny. It was quite interesting to hear you. And also one question which at the end I'd like to pose you all. You know, working in a supernatural film and believing in supernatural. Okay, that's the question which at the end I want to ask you. How much do you believe in that while you work on it? So
I very much believe in the supernatural. I have actually had personal experiences with the supernatural, so it wasn't a far reach for me. And I actually have family that have experiences in that. So yeah, it becomes easier. It's not so much all imagination to saying what if, it's what is, and bringing that to an audience, and maybe they can, you know, ask that question themselves.
Yeah, and that's what we are going to do after after this particular your perspectives. We'll open it for audience Q&A. So we'll see lots of interesting questions coming in. Alan, you wanted to add something?
Actually, I just forgot to tell. Like, I know the supernatural. Pennymada, thank you so much, Pennymada. That's very good. How we can tell a supernatural concept? How you can tell the supernatural concept in reality way? That is the kind of experience experiment we just write in this movie. That's what I wanted to convey as well.
Okay.
So,
yeah, thanks. So I'll move on to next is Damien, and Damien's body of work is amazing, huge. And I was going through your website and the kind of films you have worked in, and along with your brother, the way you have collaborated. It's like, wow, it's like the best kind of projects that one can have. And then of course, as Alan also, gives a lot of credit to you about only when you came on board of this film that everything started falling in line. So Damien, we would like to hear about you, about your work and your association, not only with this film, but Alan tells me that you're also working on a second film production as well. So over to you, Damien.
Yes. Well, Alan's enthusiasm was quite catchy for the first time when we met. He's always, and when I read the script and everything, we went through a lot of stuff, and it's very important, whatever project you work on, it's the team that you kind of get together and how well they work together, because you're going to be working together for a few months. So you want to get the best team together in order for the best creativity and everyone to be at their best. You get somebody that's not quite, doesn't believe in the project, then, it just affects the rest. So it's not just a one-man band. It is a team effort. And also everyone wants to give their best, and that makes a difference. Also, when we sat down with Alan, I said, the actors are going to make this movie what it is. As soon as so many movies nowadays, you turn them on and you just see it's not believable or bad acting, and you don't watch it. There's so many other stuff you can turn off and watch. And with my background, what I've worked on, you know what works, and you can see how things work and how things gel. So that gives me an advantage, in working with different scripts. And when I read scripts and I can see the potential in there, although on the surface it may seem kind of not as complicated and good, but as a DP, you can see the different levels you can add to it, and how to create scenes for the audience and how to draw them in, and the acting just takes over after that, and the director knows what he wants, and he can concentrate on what he wants. And I can just give him the picture that creates the scene for what he needs to do. So it's I don't know. I'm just very lucky to do what I love and get paid for it. So, and everyone, and everyone helps. It's not just I've worked on a lot of stuff. I've been lucky through my brother and everything else, and also, but it is a team effort.
Yeah, I like what you say. You say that if you have no sense of humor, then you are in the wrong industry. And how do you keep your humor intact? Because I know lots of DPs who I call them humorless. So
no, well, I mean, if you take yourself too seriously, then it's not the right industry to be in. If you just got to understand, at the end of the day, we're all making a movie, and we're not saving lives, and you have to enjoy. If you enjoy what you do, it comes through in your work. If you not enjoying what you do, it affects you and everybody else around you, and you can see it in the film. When you enjoy something and really enjoy what you do, and people get the heat of the moment. I mean, you never have enough time on film. There's always running around trying to chase things, and no, we have to shoot this, or can we shoot that, or cut this out, or can I have that? It's always yes sir, no sir. Can I play with this? No, you can't. There's always so many different ways in how you approach something and how you can do something. The more experience you have, that you find that there are always ways around it. You can always find a way around a situation, and by doing the more body of work you do, the more solutions you can come up with, and still make it look good without compensating for the film and the integrity of the film. And also having a director that gives you that leeway to kind of express it, do what you want is also great. Alan also had a very clear way on how he wanted to do things, and the actors were great. Everyone just chipped in and put in like Paul Penny in this in the suit. It was like torture, but anyway, she's a trooper. She stood in there, and all the actors, everyone put their hand up and stepped forward, and it was tough. As always rushing for time and trying to get everything in there. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks, Damien. And as you said, teamwork, collaboration, they are key for any film production. And I should add now, humor is also a very key element to keep the set only going and everything going on together. But the person who holds it all together, the team, is the producer. And we have Kanesh Mohan Sundaram, the producer, with us. And Kanesh, we would like to hear from you about your experience and how you gathered the team, and any insight about also in terms of a kind of perspective as a person from a multicultural background. How hard or how easy is for you to operate in the Australian film industry. So over to you, Kanesh.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. So thank you, Alan sir, Penny ma'am, and Damien sir, and Kabir Singh for your time and a wonderful speech and the comments about Aiyai. Okay, when I met Alan sir first in a cafe, and then he proposed to me about Aiyai script, and then the first thing that hit my mind, is based on true story, and then I can felt it when he narrated the story to me. And if you make it as a future film, everyone will be like, understand what we want to do it in future film. So that's how I get to know the Alan sir's first story. And then we straight away we went to a lot of DPs. And then we had a message with Damien, so that's how we get to know him. And then he said, like, straight away read the script, and then he said, okay, I want to be part of the team. So that's how we started our pre-production. And it was a good team. Like Davidson said, team effort. I have a good team. That's why it makes me like to keep going and going for my next project as well. And as from my different culture background, I think I find a bit hard at first because it's my first feature film, and with this well-known and experienced actors and crew members, first it's quite hard for me to manage. And after that, as I get to know them more, okay, I already decided, okay, we can do it together as a team, not as a single person, but as a team. So that's how we start our movie together.
Yeah, thanks, Kanesh. So what I'm doing is that I'm going up to the audience now for the questions, and feel free, whoever wants to respond to that question, and multiple people can respond to this question, multiple panelists. So in fact, I've just got the first question. So this is from Khushi Sharma, and her question is that after doing a horror movie, does the actor suffer from trauma? And if yes, how they overcome from this? Well, very interesting question. So probably Penny for you.
Okay, so I'll start with Kabir firstly, because he obviously had to lose a lot of weight, but also mentally and emotionally had to prepare for this role because his character goes through a terrible time. And being a method actor for him, he had to prepare hours and hours and hours in advance every day before he even stood on set, getting in the right mind frame to be able to bring this character to life. And when you hear cut, it's difficult to turn off that character because you've already brought all of those emotions up to the surface. So a lot of us deal with it differently. A lot of people just need to be left alone. Other people need the support of others. And I guess with my character, because of the transformation that she went through personally and also physically with the prosthetics, because that also adds another level of, I guess, fatigue and emotion to the actor, the person that's going through it. So once the suit was off, it was easier to get rid of that part of the character. But my character that I played before the prosthetics, that was emotionally more draining and difficult, as I know people that have been in similar situations to this character and the personal suffering that they've been through. So I use a method. The method acting is one of the techniques that I use, but I also use other techniques which don't lead to, I guess, repercussions of emotional breakdown when you get off the set. So yeah, there's lots of ways that, you know, a hug from somebody that you love on your team, and it was a supportive team, so that was great. And we laughed, so there was a lot of laughs, and especially when we did nail a scene and they said cut, we'd look at Al and say, if he give you the two big thumbs up and with a big grin, that always gave you the energy and the desire to bring the best that you could bring to the next take. So
yeah. Thanks, Penny. I think, yeah, there are different ways different people react and go through that kind of emotion of being in a horror film, and also depends. And I've seen some of these kind of horror films where people are made to do things which they wouldn't have gone through in their normal life, and that also creates lots of trauma, and also which they feel lots of times demeaned or defiled as well, and that goes on for a long time. And then of course there's lots of things. I've got another question coming in here, and probably this is more about the filmmaking thing. So filmmaking is a project that requires long time involvement, and there are times where the motivation fall, priorities change, ideas clash, especially during the middle of the project. How do the filmmakers handle this? So probably Alan and Kanesh, if you would like to respond to that.
We have to be clear about what we're going to do, what exactly we're going to do. And in the pre-productions we work on, and we call all the department heads and we start to work on. And then once we come out from the pre-production, we're all on the same page. So this way we can cut the money and time as well. But anyway, so this all happened in the beginning. Once, of course, when we start the journey, you know, based on the schedule, we go with the directors and for the pre-productions and all this stuff. But somehow, if we feel you are not exactly, though you're not right track, you are maintaining your visuals. You are satisfied with your footage, satisfied with the you know, what exactly we are aiming or achieve. So that is you know, once, you know, when you're on the job, you have to be 100% you are correct. You know what I mean? So that thing, sometimes I was extremely confident what I'm doing. So I never gave up. And at the same time, end of the day, the teams are very, you know, very like a family, like, you know, once, you know, so that give me more energy to continue to until the finish. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So you know, this is everything behind my career is behind producer putting money in there every day, more than $30,000 or $40,000 spending there, and we need to calculate everything, you know. So we don't want to even take time. So how we can minimize the budget, how we can minimize the time, you know, time's consuming is very, you know, very important. So as a director, not only for you know, and directing, but at the same time, you need to look after everything as well. And also I have to consider everything, you know, I mean, at the same time, I have to go to check on the cast they are doing, because some of the challenging part, because of Panelists, and thank you so much, madam. She was on the dress like 8 hours makeup. And at the same time, Kabir Singh, he lost 20 kg within 15 days. Even like that kind of, you know, dedication is very hard to get the characters. I mean, artists from to build the character. So he was supportive, and he's, you know, if he doesn't strong enough, I mean, mentally, and it's very hard to bring the character. So he was supported very well. So those kind of things give me a more energy, different kind of energy to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks, Alan. So I'll ask Kanesh to respond to that question. What is his perspective?
As Alan said, it's all about a pre-production and development stage, like how in pre-production, how you're gonna bring all your team together before you actually put a camera during production time. Pre-production is like is very key important aspect to consider once you have a script done. So take your pre-production time as much you can. So in that way, during the shooting time, you don't have to waste any of the time or any of the days, because time is money when it comes to filmmaking. So I would say I strongly suggest. And then we never had any of clash ideas because we already done and we already stick with our story and our script during pre-production. We take around 2 months of pre-production and then a month of production, like shooting. Thanks to Damien sir for his hard work and very fast and pressuring everyone in the set. Say like, what's next? Which one? Okay, next. And Penny
Yes,
managed to sacrifice her,
I think
her diet.
I think Kanesh lost 20 kilos just worrying about everything as well. So.
Yes, was
He
stressing
didn't-
up. Every morning I wake up. I'm going to set all this sweat, everything. But thanks to
Kanesh,
Damien sir, thanks. Thank you for that.
Kanesh and Kabir are kind of on the same weight loss program.
The thing is, Kabir sir is like in front of camera, I'm just behind the camera, just losing the diet.
It was just, yeah. Kanesh is more stress related. Yeah.
That happens to many producers I know of. And
thanks to them, we managed to finish the shooting within 27, and we got what we shot more than we needed. Yeah, more than what we need. So, and Penny madam, thanks for your hard work as well. You've been excellent, cooperative. I know you hate wearing the cosmetic the Aiyai dress because you cover up most of your beautiful face, but that's what we need from the script.
Yeah, my next question is to Damien, and this is to do with, the shooting style for horror films and the kind of, camera work. And in fact, one of the questions that has been posed, which actually, reflects in a way, has the same kind of understanding of what I wanted to ask is about, do you believe that too many horror movies include the angle of religion, God against the evil? Can there be no other approaches that can include something less than supernatural? So actually, that's a different thing. But let's go on to the mood or the style of camera first, and then we'll come on to this thing. So Damien, what do you think, as opposed to a big budget action cinema to a kind of a horror film, which is a low budget or mid budget kind of a film? And
well, the good thing about horror is that you have a lot of leeway to kind of play around with things, because in a horror you can't, if you have a really well-known actor, you're going to keep him on there longer. If the actors that you're not quite sure, if you're not sure who's going to die first. So that's one kind of advantage. And also, as a DP, it gets you to create the scene. So I create a mood for the movie. So, and in doing so, you can actually, that's a lot of fun, because you get to create a movie. It's just like nighttime, and how you create the scares and how you get your audience sucked involved, and how you bring them into the movie, because you want them to become part of the journey. So in doing so, by different cameras and the movement and all that kind of stuff, and the lighting, it creates a mood, and then the music on top of that just captures the audience. I mean, you can see, people forget about, no, we just use this camera or that camera or whatever. It'll be okay. We don't have to worry about lighting. We just create about the story. But how you set up a scene is like a photograph. You can, not every the photographs that you spend time and looking at, and you can see the difference than somebody just snapping off a shot and just sticking it on, So that's what I feel. And the whole religion thing, and it's how you create the mood, and how you create the good guys and the bad guys, and without saying anything. So your picture should tell the story, and then you can always add on top of that. You can actually tell a story with very little words involved, just by the way that how good the actors are, and how the lighting and the music, how that draws you in, and how that takes you on that journey. So that's what I love about horrors.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. And yeah, well, horror, I see lots of experiment these days with so many horrors coming from, and OTT platforms, you can access horrors from almost all the kind of countries, and you see the different ways things are done. And the next question, in fact, from the assistant professor of DME, Ms. Sukriti Arora, and her question is, are there any key differences you can point out when it comes to how this genre of horror is dealt in India and in Australia? is there some kind of difference that you see? So yeah, Alan, Kanesh, anyone can respond to that. Maybe, and if you have seen any of the Indian horrors or not.
I think that actually India and Australia, I mean, it's the acting is very different and how they actors portray a situation. You know, some get Indians very expressive. Australians seem to kind of not be as expressive. So it's part of a cultural thing as well. It's, you know, so that's the kind of that's what you'll definitely notice. The same with same with Korean or Asian. I mean, their acting and performance is very different to the European style, and it's how, you know, for us it may seem a bit over the top, but for them it's not. It's very natural, and so it's, you know, so you got to understand whatever genre you're dealing with, it's who's going to see it, and generally speaking, and how the acting is portrayed and how that comes across. Also, is how it's shot and everything can also kind of drag you into it. You know, there's, you know the difference between, you know, different cultures and how they shoot and how their actors are, and what their sense of humor is and how they take things in. So that's also got to be taken in consideration whatever project you do. And I think nowadays people get exposed to so much more stuff on all the streaming networks that people are becoming more versatile on what's out there and what can be done, and how you express yourself and how you know, do I overact it? Do I underact it? Do I play it very subtle? You know, do I make it as real as possible, or do I kind of like stage acting and film acting are two different genres? Like, you kind of express yourself on stage because you're out to the audience. Yeah, the film, you can pick up those subtleties without having to be on stage. You know, like a slight look left or right can be picked up, whereas on stage they can't be. So depends on what background you come from, and knowing what genre you're in is very important.
Yeah, true. Alan, yeah.
Also, I would like to share something, because my experience from the European industry, basically. So even some of the horror movie, it is a horror, but at the same time they play with the mind games. So, for example, like A Good Night Mummy from Austria. So the whole entire movie doesn't have any supernatural elements or paranormal activities or anything. We couldn't see anything much, but we can't go to sleep. You know, you know what I mean? So those kind of mind games. So when I started this script, this is not a horror actually. This is a psychological thriller, because we don't want to go for a typical horror kind of thing. So how we can say, again, like last time, what I say, supernatural concept, how you can tell in the reality way and maintain the logic and psychology, philosophy as well. So it is to do that. And when I bring the new, a real character in this movie, character, and it was my understanding was it is like the character and the dark spirit have a battle. So in this case, so if I can take it to this one to audience can love it, or they can understand, or they can connect with audience very well. You know what I mean? Those kind of questions myself as well. So in the character, he cannot understand, and he can't explain anything. You know what I mean? So all the way he doesn't deliver any dialects. So how we can maintain this character all the way to until the end. You know, so at the same time we have to connect with the audience. If, for example, as an audience, if you don't like the character and you don't want to watch the movie, you know what I mean? Anyway, even the dressing or makeup or styles or dialect delivery or body language, or in many ways we need to connect with the audience. You know what I mean? So they have to love the character. We don't bring there any larger than life characters. So we just what exactly we need for this concept. So based on the fact. Indians movies, I have gone through many Indians movies because of course we are born and brought up with the Indians, you know. So those kind of stuff. So we've gone through, but I'm a little bit far away from that kind of the formula what they're doing over there, because my target is what we trying to do. We trying to satisfy with the wide range of audience. So that of course they are very talented people in India. They're making good movies. So but we trying to convince like every wide range of audience. So our movies has to be played on every country. Every audience has to come and watch it, kind of. So this way, what we try to do, we just minimize that, minimize that, what do you call jump scare. Also, what do you call maintain the logic and realism. It's like I feel like something happened in your next door. So once when you bring it's all about the character. It's a background, is a horror elements there, but at the same time, you know what I mean. So it's all about the characters move, how it's moving. Even the camera from the beginning, even the camera was moving that following the character. And the next 5 minutes time that they forgot the camera, and they're starting travel with the character. The audience travel with the character. When character gets scared, an audience gets scared as well. So those kind of, you know what I mean. So we played in a different angle, but and again, like I said, we tried some kind of elements and layers to bring this kind of level. Of course, even any audience thinking, oh, this is a horror movie, they will get disappointed, to be honest. So they have to go with the ready for, okay, to watch something, okay, mind-blowing movies or something different storytelling. It's a non-linear. And at the same time, it's forth and back, so it's gonna have something different. So it is a new experience for us. I know we don't take the risk element, but at the same time, we try to, because at the end of the day, the main story should understand the audience. And as long as I understand the main story, you know what I mean? Whatever you can make it confused or like complicated in the middle, but as long as they understand the main story, or they have, you know what I mean? That's what we tried. But like Damien says, say, Indian horror movies, they're making for our own audience, over the Indian audience. We tried something for a wide range of audience. That is a bigger difference. But every way, they have a talented people every way. Every products have a hard work behind. So we have to respect for that one. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I like Indian horrors as well. I enjoy Indian horrors. Indian horror has a different kind of flavor, and these days it's getting interesting as well. And sometimes I find them much more scary than the routine Western horrors as well, because the kind of loud soundtrack, sometimes over the top emotions, and then song and dance weaved in between. I enjoy that kind of structure as well.
So it's a different formula.
It's a different structure, and many of them now get inspired by lots of Korean, Japanese, and Thai films, and
of course,
pick up things from here and there. But it's good. But at the heart of your film, again, because it's also about a soul wanting to take revenge, I feel that's the kind of oldest formula that Indian cinema has used.
Only one option. Only one option there. No more options. Only one option. So only the revenge. Only we have the horror. If we touch the horror film, there's only one option there. So you know what I mean. That's very straightforward.
Because the horror discussion becomes intense, because so many questions are also coming from there, and so there's another question, and this is interesting again, and partially Damien also responded to that a bit. So probably there's an interesting question: are horror movies bad for our mental health? Well.
Well, you should be watching it.
Well, no, nothing is bad till the time you want it.
Nothing's so bad. Nothing's so bad. As long you pass the clarification in cinemas like PG-18 or 15, so it's all about age. Nothing's bad.
I know some people's mental health is unquestionable anyway. So
especially after pandemic time. At this time, it's very unquestionable. Anything can turn.
Yeah. Pandemic itself is a mental stress.
Mental health.
For everyone.
For everyone.
It's worse horror that unfolded in last 2 years, probably.
And also, I would like to share with something. Aiyai is an Indian word, actually. It's like a Sanskrit word, like a avatar come from like a Sanskrit word, and karma come from Sanskrit word. So pretty much similar to like Aiyai. So first time we tried Aiyai Indian word to international movies.
So what is the exact meaning of Aiyai? Can you?
Aiyai is like a like a Romanian gypsies, the where you come from, so the gypsies background, the girl who how the world live in the different world, how she like her. The way she wearing the clothes and things, and you know what I mean, everything all about. So all about this one, like a female character. So once this character, the community, when she start, I mean, she get a torture or like a affected with this community, it's a end of the, she gone with the end of the worst death kind of things. So her spirit doesn't go to peace, you know what I mean? So it's hanging around, and it also it is not a real it's a normal horror. This is a marijuana horror. Kind of, you know what I mean? So that's kind of like, you know, so that's what we call like Aiyai. Aiyai is for the about all the female you know,
It's a beautiful soul. Yeah.
it's all even like a Aiyai is a god name, Aiyappan, Aiyai, kind of like female things. So so all about the Penny character was that the Aiyai. So where she come from, she live in the community, like what is the community she living? So what she can end up with that. This is all about that character, you know what I mean? So that's why we call Aiyai.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Okay, so there's only one person shooting lots of questions. Koshish Srivastav again. So how can you make a balance between real and real life while shooting horror films, as we watch horror movies and get scared, forgetting that it's not a reality? But Alan made a film based on a real story. Anyway, Alan, you can respond.
That's a great question. Congratulations, good questions. Okay, so when you come up with the real stories, I mean, real, I mean, like, of course, a real character. So bring it to this, I mean, you know, real making. So of course, your making also has to be realistic way. So for example, that's what we tried. So even we haven't had a VFX much. So we've done most of the stuff in the practical special effect. So once we say, okay, practical, I mean, realistic storytelling, but at the same time, making also has to be a realistic way. So that's when we can feel it. So even when you watch a movie, you don't feel anything, which one is a VFX, which one is a practical special effect. And also the characters, every characters they played with a very, very realistic way. So like a very natural performance. And you can feel that even it's a cinematic behind, but at the same time, the characters we played on a natural way, and also same time the making also we've done like most of the stuff we've done in the practical special effect. So in this case, you know, so this all will be you know, so help us to bring that that's kind of feel. But supernatural concept, of course, when you go to theater and watch a movie, of course you have to entertain. You know what I mean? So. That kind of cinematic mood we have in this movie, that is another element, camera work, and also makeup, also what do you call lightning, and you know what I mean. Even the practical facility, rainy mood and dark mood and smoke, how much thick smoke we have to use. That's kind of thing all mixed together. It's coming into cinematic, but at the same time, cast the character acting. And also the making, also the maximum we tried on the practical way, in as a realistic way. So that comes up to, you know what I mean? We can feel it.
So Alan, I wanted to ask Damien. In fact, Damien, would you like to give some tips and tricks to the students, budding, you know, filmmakers wanting to make something in horror genre? What kind of things they can do?
Well, the good thing about the horror genre is it's an open source in which you can, you know, just as good as your imagination, really. And I mean, now with all the cameras and stuff you can get your hands on, it's really good. If you come up with a good script and get the right people involved, you know, you can, you know, just go out there and experiment and see what works and what doesn't. I mean, you know, it's amazing what people actually catch and attach themselves to and can relate to, is how far your film will go. So it's you know, it's just go out there, try, believe in what you're doing, and just get everyone involved with you do it. And then if you do something with the right people, and a lot of there's this great saying, what you put in is what you get out. So you know, that's very important. So in all projects that you do, and you got to believe in what you're doing. If people don't start believing in it, you can almost really see it on their face, you know. And once it gets to that stage, then it's, you know, what do? You know, so you got to believe in what you do and get the right people involved who believe in it as well, and then have fun. If you have fun with it, you'll see it in the movies that you make, that you had fun with it, and people can see you had fun with it. That you know, if you get scared and trying to get the people scared and seeing their reaction when the film is suddenly made and everything, that's the satisfaction you get when you sit in the cinemas and see how people react to what you've done. And that's the exciting part. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that, Damien. And I'm also mindful that we are running out of time. So what I'm going to do is that I would just like you all to just maybe in 2 minutes talk about what you are currently working on and what are your future projects or anything that we should be excited about. So I'll start with Penny, move on to Alan, Damien, and then Kanesh. So Penny, over to you.
Over the last couple of months with the whole COVID thing, I've been working on, I've done 5 short films, and they're in international film festivals right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing some more wreaths coming from those. So that's exciting. Planning on some features for 2022, which is going to be great. Also, I have roots in theatre. That's how I trained at university. So I've been sent some projects, some original theatre projects that I'm looking over at the moment as well. And I'm also co-writing a play, and I am also co-writing a screenplay. So I'm pretty busy with that at the moment. So, but yeah, there's some good things happening and exciting projects. And of course, Sir Alan and our Kanesh and Damien are a formidable team, and there's exciting stuff happening with them soon as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, thanks, Penny, and wish you all the best for your future projects. And
Thank
Alan,
you.
Kanesh, and Damien, they are working on their next Hollywood/Australian film. So Alan, would you like to talk a bit about, and Kanesh, so feel free to, add to your perspectives or each other's perspectives. So Alan, tell us about your next project. And you have been very excited. Every time I talk to you, you are like, wow, I'm doing this and this is what is happening. I'm getting people from Hollywood. We have, and you invited me to one of your films shoots as well. Unfortunately, it's too far away for me at this time to travel, but yeah, please talk about your next project.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll see one day soon. So actually, currently we're doing a action thriller gangster one. It's a Hollywood films. We're bringing 2 well-known cast from Hollywood and also well-known producers coming on board. And it's a studio movie, not an independent films. That's the one we're just working on right now. Currently, development is the finishing stage, and the next one we're waiting for approval from the studio to jump into the pre-productions. It's going to be long shoot, 75-day shoot we're planning, and also same time it's a more than 4-month pre-production because a lot of construction works here. It's a high pumping action. It's a real guerrilla warfare kind of action movie. It is a very rough and very raw kind of movie. And after that, we got 2 projects on the same time. It's the 9 Nights. It's Indian international collaboration. So it's like happening shooting in India. So over 1-year shoot, it's a huge, it's a big films, all with the popular cast in Bollywood stars and international stars involved. And this is also like a studio project. We are talking to the studio. Hopefully, as soon as we Rokada, there's a second movie called Rokada finish, we can jump into the 9 Nights. It's a huge movie and a huge project, and also it's a lot of works going on. And same time, we just started the 1943, the forgotten 1943 as well. It's a project. It's a Second World War project. So we got 3 major project development going on. All our writers teams are working day and night. So first of all, we're trying to complete it Rokada first. Thank you.
Kanesh, would you like to add?
So apart of Rokada, like as Alan sir mentioned, I have few other projects in India, like in South India. That's where my native from. It's called Mayan, and then but I'm fully focused with Rokada, with Alan and Damien sir for the script and also for pre-production work. So that's what we have. But we'll keep update about our next progress to you guys.
Yeah, and if you are shooting in India, definitely You should connect with
Definitely.
Amrish and get some of the students on board as interns. I think that will be
Yeah.
a fantastic
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah.
So,
Vikrant, this is what I was thinking while Alan was telling all about this, that if you're shooting in India, then obviously get connected to us. So we would love to be part of this whole project in India.
yeah, we always welcome any we need volunteers and students so they can learn what we are doing. At the same time, we can adapt their mindset so we know what their audience really think of and what they want from a movie perspective.
Yes, it's all about giving back and what you get.
Contribution. Yeah. We want the
And in the
audience to be
future.
happy. As soon as they step into cinemas, we want them to get entertained for rest of 2 hours or 3 hours of the durations. I don't want them to be like, what I'm thinking, what's the movie about? We want to give them a good movie so they will get entertained within the 2 hours.
And Damien, what are your projects? What are the exciting things?
I've got a few things happening here and there, you know, finish the script as well, but Ricarda and Nine Nights is what Alan and Kanesh is kind of dragging me into, and that I'm involved in, and coming up with new ways and ways to shoot things with all the new cable cams and drones and, you know, first person view and all that kind of stuff. There's so many new techniques and everything that for me as a cameraman is very exciting. How to create new stunts, how to implement those new stunts, how to create entertainment cinema and captivating the audience in everything and making it all believable, you know. And then that only adds also special effects to that as well. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, drones, and this is one thing that we always keep talking within our universities as well. And lots of universities are a bit apprehensive of, you know, bringing in drone within the teaching thing because there are lots of risk and lots of restrictions. But what would be your thoughts on, you know, bringing some specialized, you know, short-term courses around teaching drone and drone handling and things like that?
It's all about it, but every shot's different and you got to figure out how they can intercut with what you're actually shooting at the same time. The thing is, there's also cable cams, there's the movies, the steady cam. So once those things moving, it's you know, and drones, you know, you got to know what works and what doesn't work, and when's the time to use a drone, when's the time not to use a drone, when to use this, when to use that. So the more you get to operate and do things, the more you can see opportunity for things to happen or work, and you need to design the shot around what you do. So if I'm going to use drone, I'll design the shot so it works with the drone shot. It'll be part of my storyline. It'll be part of my, you know, scenes, and that takes time. And it's all how much time you have to lay out the shot, to perform it. That's the biggest crux of it all. How much time you have to implement it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's your restriction. You know, whether you can have one or two drones, maybe no drone, maybe just cable cam, or not even that. You know, so that's the trick.
Yeah.
And also, sir, the 9 Nights Indian Collaborate project, it will be a very good experience for everyone, because it's a huge project. Most of the technicians are come from overseas, Last Kingdom, Vikings, Game of Thrones, all the very good technicians, and also Damien's are bringing a lot of technicians. It will be good collaboration in Indian technicians as well, you know what I mean? So it's a very good journey, and most welcome. Please feel free to contact us.
All right, so I'll now, it was a very interesting session and to know about your work and your contribution. And I'm sure all the audience would have loved this. So from my side, like I'll end the panel here, and because we just have 5 more minutes to wrap up things. So over to you, Amrish, Professor Susmita, and Pramod.
Professor Dr. Susmita Bala, Head DME Media School, to give the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Devishri. Actually, session was very, very interesting. It was interesting to listen to you all. Basically, I am fond of horror film. I personally feel that in horror film, excitement, thrill, captivity of audience, everyone, everything is there. और I like horror films. I enjoy horror films. So जो अभी बात हो रही थी कि यहाँ दिल्ली में आप करेंगे तो I will be part of this film. It was interesting to listen to you all. The efforts of Kanesh Sundaram is producing this film are commendable. Making a film by creative people of Indian diaspora in Australia was obviously not an easy task. As we listened to Kanesh, he could do it with his sheer determination. While he managed to arrange the team, he also worked in keeping the cost under control. In India or Australia, horror film is horror film. Alan, the writer and director of this film, did the most difficult part of creating horror on the screen. But this film is not merely a horror, it goes beyond that. As Alan explained, he was playing a mind game, he worked on characters. Also, Kabir Singh told us he, as the leader actor, worked hard in preparing himself for this role. Listening to Damien, the director of photography, was interesting. He emphasized on humor along with his philosophy of enjoying your work. And obviously, female lead role, Penny, that was very interesting. And I think you enjoyed lots of these things. And to Dr. Vikrant Kishore for bringing brilliant ideas and panelist for us. This is very good. So thanks, Vikrant, and thanks everyone for this session and attend this session. Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Humble.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind
Thank you very
words.
much.
Firstly, I'd like to thank all our guests and panelists today for an interesting panel discussion. I would like to extend my immense gratitude to the management of DME. Without the support of Mr. Aman Sani, Vice Chairman DME, Honorable Justice Bhavar Singh, Director General DME, and Dr. Ravikant Swamy, Director DME, would not have been able to come this far. I also thank them for giving us this wonderful opportunity and the resources to execute the same. I'm thankful to Dr. Amrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School, Festival Director of CIFFI, and Dr. Vikrant Kishore, Festival Director, Dr. Susmita Bala, Head DME Media School and Festival Associate Director, for their constant guidance and encouragement at every step. I thank our partners, the student body of DME Media School, SPARK, that is students with positive attitude and resonating communication. I want to thank our jury members, Mr. Nimish Kapoor, Mr. Murtaza Ali, Ms. Supriya Suri, Mr. Pankaj Rakesh, for patiently fairly watching all the movies and for giving their precious time and feedback. A special note of thanks to Ms. Manmeet Kaur, Ms. Shruti VS, Ms. Mudita Raj, Dr. Manasvi Maheshwari, Ms. Sukriti Arora for their efforts and constant support and cooperation, Dr. Krishna Pandey, Mr. Pramod Pandey, and Mr. Mohammad Kamal for media coverage, Mr. Sachin Nair, Mr. Sumantra Das, Mr. Yogesh Sharma, Mr. Vishal Sahai for digital and production support, Mr. Anmol Mehta for designing, Mr. Abhishek Yadav for IT support. I would also like to thank the student team of CIFFI who worked tirelessly facing all the challenges and obstacles of pandemic to make this festival happen. I must thank all our participants who submitted their creative pieces, and thank you our attendees to join the session. This was the end of session 1, day 4. The next session for today is a panel discussion on the topic Rebirth and Regeneration of the Cinema in the Digital Era, a Pandemic Fallout, from 11:30 a.m. And the last session for today is a curated session on sound design in film, aesthetics, and technology, conceptualized, curated, and moderated by Dr. Gauri D. Chakraborty from 2:30 p.m. With this, I, MS Divishri, take your leave for now.